Hello there, and welcome to a interesting episode of Scum Live, mainly because this is a book that neither of us actually had the opportunity to read initially for this one. We're both going in blind. The name's Adam.
I'm Impcit, and we are exploring Apocalypse World.
Yeah, the root of the source, the very original powered by the apocalypse machine. That's going to be interesting because this is actually the thing that is responsible for the destruction and ruination of the RPG industry because it's really easy to use the mechanics and then just kind of slap together some stuff for an affinity scam and then just go from there. This is going to
I,
be fun.
so I guess let's see if this game is actually like that kind of slop.
Uh, so I do know one thing about it, and that one of the writers actually wrote Dogs in the Vineyard, which was pretty good from what I remember. So at the very least, there's going to be something there. At least I hope there is. God, I hope there is. So let's get into it. The version we are looking at is second edition, which is a little more polished, mainly because, well, it has cover art. I don't think holding your nose is going to save you from the gas attack, my guy. Especially since I just noticed that, oh, it's just like going into his pants. What?
Well, no, it's the bag. I don't know. Maybe that's
Oh, is that supposed to be a crude bladder for air?
probably.
It looks like a carry-on bag.
It's the apocalypse. Probably was.
Fair enough. So, Apocalypse World, which was written by D. Vincent Baker and Megwee Baker. And the only thing from this that I remember is Dogs in the Vineyard.
Kill puppies for Satan. Um,
I don't know
Mobile
anything about
Frame
Mobile Frame
Zero.
Zero.
But definitely has pedigree.
They've written things. I don't know if any of them are good outside of Dogs in the Vineyard though. And this is also one of the first that's powered by the Apocalypse. It actually has a rating, like a film rating for R, because of the language, sex, and violence that's going to be in this game. They also tell you if you have this book, you're going to need printouts of the character playbooks, the reference sheet, and the main characters play sheets. And you can get them as free downloads from apocalypseworld.com, which is where you can also get this book. I will say that the website has a kind of a cursed energy about it. First off, it's not secured. It's not a secured website because it doesn't have a proper domain link. And second off, it feels like they did not go through an editor.
Well, of course, because it's the apocalypse.
Fair enough. So let's see. The table of contents include the basics about the setting, the playbooks, which are your characters, how to create a character, what the master of ceremonies are. I don't know why we're going with MC instead of game master, but fair enough. Because you
I
know what
kind of like
the
that.
master of ceremonies are? They're the dudes that play music at like weddings.
Yeah. What would you say, master ceremonies? To do something like I don't know, the Road Lord or the Herald of Doom or some type of apocalyptic theme.
Yeah, I think Roadmaster or I think Game Master. Oh, come on. Fuck off, Malware Bytes. Really?
They don't want us to read this book.
I guess this is malware, guys. Yeah, MC does sound like main characters. It also reminds me of rapping. I'm sorry, the malware bytes thing actually just made me laugh. I didn't expect that to pop up.
So let's see, we've got then first session, our threats, uh,
How harm and healing works. Gear and crap, because we're going with that sort of aesthetic and energy.
the different character moves, battle moves, preferable moves,
Also,
experience and
experience and
improvement,
improvement, advanced fuckery.
not normal fuckery, advanced fuckery.
Ludography, I don't know what that means. Probably something perverted. And then we just get into the basics. Also, just as a bit of a nod, when I made fun of Mork Borg for doing this, this is what happens when you run a photo through maximum contrast.
Also,
Legitimately, if you do it black and white and you go maximum contrast, you get stuff like this. I will say that it takes effort to get the lighting, although given that the contrast is so high, what they probably did was they did so and then just kind of filled in what was missing.
also, ludography is basically like it's a bibliography, but for games. Like a list of
Uh,
games mentioned in a publication or a list of games created.
Malware carrying PDF files is the closest things to the Necronomicon we have in the TTRPG. No, don't worry about that, LSL. What happens is I use malware bytes, and what happens is this is why it's kind of annoying. It will actually talk about the stuff that it's stored, and for some fucking reason, it has decided to pop up today. I don't know why
Uh,
it chose to do it then. It usually does so about, well, honestly, it usually does so 10 minutes earlier. It's always at the same time. I don't get it. I'll have to probably tweak with that so that it doesn't happen again.
but we have here the basics. No one remembers how and why. Maybe
Because if you
nobody ever knew.
because this allows you to come up with your own setting, which fair enough, but I do think you need to come up with a generic setting for them to work with, and I hope they do.
Just go. It's. Have you seen Road Warrior or any ripoff from the 80s? It's that.
You could go with that, or alternatively, no, hear me out. Degenesis Light.
No, no, I was thinking just say no, it's Hell Comes to Frogtown.
You could do that. The apocalypse may have triggered my antivirus. Probably. I do like the idea that it's this book that activates it. Oh man.
So they
But yeah,
tell
no one
us.
knows how or why. Basically, the world is fucked. This is what you're dealing with, and just don't think about it. Have the GM come up with it, or should I say the MC come up with it? Which is the first sign that this is where the fuck it, we'll just have the game master fix it for us kind of mindset comes in. Because I'm fine with that as a GM. I do a lot of world homebrews. I do a lot of that. Most of my games actually rely heavily on homebrew. The problem is that's not very friendly to new game masters.
Yeah, you want a base to build stuff off on.
So I'm just going to hope that they go on from there. We'll see.
So we have our. They give us our playbooks. That role playing's a conversation. What the
Choose
moves.
one player to be the master of ceremonies. So you can walk in with all of the kit and just kind of hand it off to some poor bastard. It's your turn. You have been chosen for the sacrifice.
It's just the same guy.
Once you've got your group together, start the game with character creation. All right. The game's playbooks and reference sheets contain all the rules that the other players need to play. Rules for creating and introducing their characters, having them take consequential action in play. Okay, fair enough. The conversation. Yep.
The moves and dice. What they do it for. So they say the rule for moves is to do it, do it.
What?
In order for it to be a move for the and for the player to roll dice, the character has to do something that counts as that move. Saying it's unambiguous, such as I crawl out there, I try to keep my head down, doing it under fire. But there are two ways uh, they sometimes don't line up, and it's your job as an MC to deal with it. So if the player asks or says that I go aggro on him, your answer should be, "What do you do?" Seize the radio by force. What do you do? Try to fast talk him. What do you do?
That's weird.
Sta basically, yeah.
No,
I'm trying to
that's a
understand.
weird example because I know people are pretty vague sometimes with what they when they want to do something. Like I want to do the thing and you have to clarify. But when I think of going aggro, I think of like beating the shit out of them, you know?
Yeah, this is
What a
like the
weird
rule for
example.
moves is if you do it, you do it. So make with the dice.
What the fuck?
That's just weird language.
It's really weird given that the person who wrote this also wrote Dogs in the Vineyard and they didn't have a phrasing like that.
Then they're saying to check the move's listings. Each move says what the stat, which stat the player should add to their roll. Do roll plus a stat. You add 2 dice, adds them up, and adds the stat. For a
Oh
sum
no, here's
of
another horrible example. I shove him out of my way. Your answer should then be, cool, you're going aggro. I pout. Well, if you really don't like me, cool, you're trying to manipulate him. I, oh god, I hate the way this is Oh, fuck, I hate this. I,
that just.
that's awful. What?
Are you trying to antagonize your players?
Why are you doing this Socratic method bullshit?
Why are you doing it?
Like, sometimes it's useful to cage out an answer, but man, you could just say, hey, can you clarify? Like, what exactly are you gonna do? Oh my god. I'd love to see what the playtesting was like. Oh, please tell me the playtesting was exactly like that, and the Master of Ceremonies constantly did Socratic method teaching.
Like,
Just when I thought we'd get out of the lesson planning for bad books, it comes right back in.
they then give us the stats. Um, Actually, no, before that, I just realized I have to read this paragraph. Each of the characters also has a special move that kicks in when they have sex with someone.
Um, no,
Magical Realm.
no,
The special sex moves. I,
no.
it's the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, sex is a thing, but no.
The other thing
Now
is
I'm
when
going
I
to
think
look
of
with suspicion at anyone
yeah,
who wants to play this game.
when I think of post-apocalyptic sex, I don't think of it as being sexy.
I usually think of The Hills Have Eyes mutants, personally.
I actually think of the scene from Road Warrior.
That too.
So the stats are cool, which means cool under fire,
Oh, I hate the
hard
way this is written.
to go
Oh,
aggro, hot, seduce or manipulate, sharp, to read a person or a situation, and weird, psychic bullshit. So,
I don't hate psychic nonsense in the post-apocalypse, but you know what I really hate? The hot stat, mainly because of how it's written, meaning fucking hot, attractive, subtle, gracious, sexy, beautiful, inspiring, and exciting.
yeah, hot, like chicks, bro.
Ugh.
And they're doing it. Then there's hex, meaning history.
What? What? Like the prescription and diagnose? Why? What's the point?
Because it's hot and sexy.
Oh
It's also
man.
asymmetrical.
Hey, Impcit, can we go back to Blades in the Dark? I think I figured out why my my malware container fucking pinged on this.
Maybe.
What's next? Are they gonna sell me dick growth pills? Is Alex Jones gonna pop in my side window saying, "Hey, you stupid son of a bitch! Look at this ugly motherfucker. He gets more women than you possibly can if you buy my boner growth pills."
Next up, though, is notation. Oh, that's just saying what the +1 or the -2 or the 0 is.
Why do you not have a
That's
space
not.
between?
Wait, that's not
No.
notation. That's modifier. Notation is a subscript.
Notation are the symbology that you use to calculate. Why are you trying to overly math? Like, here's the thing, right? Whenever I do modifiers, what I do is I usually have a space between that. I don't try to write this shit as an equation. You can, but visually, when I see cool -2, I don't interpret that as cool being -2. I see it like as an item, like the cool 2 supernova vacuum cleaner or something. That might be just how my brain interprets it, but I usually like to have spaces in between
Yeah,
my modifiers. So it would be
that,
cool space -2.
but then there's
Or
also
alternatively,
if
I
it.
use parentheses for that.
But then there's also where you put the number before the word,
What?
which also means,
Yeah, that would work too. Wait,
which I
what?
guess is a modifier before the
What the
stat
fuck
name.
is wrong with you? Not you. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with these writers, man?
I don't know.
This is such a weird point.
Oh, here's the other thing. Each player highlights two of our character's stats, one chosen by another player, one chosen by you, the MC. So you're
What?
so another so you don't
Oh
have say over your
no.
character creation.
No, you do, but the main
No, you don't.
character.
You don't. The main character and a different player gets to control what your modifiers are.
What the fuck? This is the thing that
Maybe,
inspired all of those other games out there? This? Here's the hoping it gets better from here because right now this is a titanic failure. Holy shit.
and then I look here at the gear, where it's like there's a descriptor tag for the Magnum. 3, that's either a dash or a minus, harm, close, reload, loud,
What the
or
They
followers.
didn't even
Fortune
follow their protocol. Like, look,
plus
they
2,
didn't.
surplus, 1, not minus 1, -1, 1 minus barter, augury, want,
They
judgment,
didn't even use
savagery.
their own notation correctly.
What kind of garbled up English is this?
That's like,
This is just words.
this is on the same page. This is 2 paragraphs down. What was the.
Maybe it's weird. Maybe it's meant to be weird.
Well, no, -2 weird. Like, they do that right, and then they do that.
Brain hurt.
My brain am hurty.
Well, that brings us to the next section, harm and healing. We have a harm countdown clock.
Because we need to use lesson plan. What is it with RPG stealing lesson planning materials and combining it with BDSM? You have consent cards, and then you get now. Kids use the clock to calculate how much time you can to skip. That's creepy. What the fuck? Ah! Oh,
I mean, maybe they were
I'm
maybe
so
they were
glad
playing
we're going in this blind,
maybe they
man.
were playing one of the Mario games
I'm so
and
glad
and,
we're going in this blind.
and just saw that the hits go down in a clock motion.
Oh yeah, like the fractions. Like, oh no, Mario lost a pip of health. Dun, 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 dun. Jesus
Yeah.
fucking Christ.
Harm before 6 o'clock heals automatically with time. Harm after 9 o'clock gets worse with time. If player marks the segment 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, their life has become untenable, in which it
Wait,
can
so
lead
we
to.
could talk about the greasy, disgusting sex you have, but you can't say they die.
It's one option. And then angels are all about healing and stabilizing harm. Where the fuck did the angels come from?
Don't worry, that's a class. I at the very
They
least did a
they didn't
very
introduce
quick.
that.
True, they didn't. What the fuck? These guys have done books before. How are they screwing up this basic stuff? That's weird. That, like, if this was the first effort of an RPG, well, maybe not the first, but if this was like an early part of their work, I'd understand. But Dogs in the Vineyard is much older than this.
And then the player marks experience under 3 circumstances in play. Um, First is when she rolls one of her 2 highlighted stats. Second is when her hex goes, when someone goes to +4, -3. Third is when a move tells her to.
I kind of
Player mark.
really hate the idea that history is just reduced to who have you had in bed, you fucking slag.
Wouldn't you just say like relationship or bond instead?
No, you see, we gotta commodize. We gotta commodize. We gotta accommodate and mark all of our people like tallies on a bedpost. Maybe HX is a nod to the diagnosis when they accidentally caught something that needed a little bit of,
Yeah,
antibiotics to cure.
possibly.
I'm not trying to
Mm.
be mean, and this is just allegedly. It's just really fucking weird that you're using the X notation of a pharmacist of all things in your book.
So we then go into our next part of the syllabus, the timeline of play. The pre-play
Oh, we're going
prep,
with this being lesson planning. Oh God, you're
the
right. This is the lesson plan.
the pre-play play prep in which you get your safety words, you loop up all of your toys, establish boundaries. Then the first section is when you get into the hot and sweaty action. You build up that tension, and then when after you release that, you plan the next section to do, and you daydream all the different fetishes and nasty stuff you want to do until you keep going on and on and on.
Until its climax.
Yeah, as they say, why to play? One, because the characters are fucking hot.
All right, that's the review. Have fun with the rest of the night, guys. No, no, no.
Because hot as they are, the characters are best and hottest when you put them together. Lovers, rivals, friends, enemies, blood, sex, animals. That's the good shit.
Uh, and that's this. I'm sorry. I want to keep making that joke because this is the worst way to sell an RPG to me ever. And it's not
Because
because I'm a prude. It's because what the fuck?
this is why you played a game like Fallout's because the characters are fucking hot, not because you wanted to explore the post-apocalyptic world because possibly secretly we all want to see the world end and try to rebuild after that,
So,
or that the scavenging's kind of fun. No, it's because hot, steamy sex in a post-apocalyptic world.
look, there are some people that really get aroused when they look at that assassin robot and the death claw. I don't know what's wrong with them either, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna sell this, this is the way I always interpreted why I like TTRPGs. It has all of the fun of a video game in some respects, in that you can set and design your own sort of adventure based on your preferences. And then, if you have a different interest or preference you wish to kind of shift it towards, as long as your players are okay with it, the game shifts in scope. For example, I'm currently running a dungeon crawling game that has turned into a bit of a Sky Pirates adventure scenario, at least briefly, before going further into exploration of a new setting where it's basically based on the woods and swamps. I wouldn't be able to easily do that in a video game. A lot of those, oh, this video game can do that. It's basically Star Citizen, but without having to pay for like $10,000 for a ship JPEG. What's sexier than Death and Decay? Signed, Nurgle. Yeah, I agree, Sir Spooky.
Yeah. Well, four, because they're together, sure, but they're desperate and under a lot of pressure. So who do you trust? Who should you trust? What if you get it wrong? And who do you fuck?
What the hell is this design philosophy for RPGs, man?
And then five, oh, the fuck I added. I'm adding that shit. But uh, five, because there's something really wrong with the world, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I, the
Going into
creator of this game, don't know what
going
it
into
is.
first person for some fucking reason.
I don't know what this is. I'm the person who wrote this book, and I don't got a goddamn clue. When you're designing an RPG setting, you probably shouldn't admit that you don't know. It's not a good idea.
I do remember what was it, Gamma World? As as bad as what was it, the seventh edition was?
Oh no, the seventh I'd argue right now is still more horrifying. It's just this one.
At least it had a little bit of fun with it, where it was just like all of the apocalypse happened, and like in a bunch of them, they had to nuke a small town in Wisconsin
Oh
because it
yeah,
was
where they came up
necessary.
with like, how did the world end? Was it via nuclear hellfire? Aliens coming from another dimension to commit a great plan? Ducks that rose from the lakes to enslave and destroy humanity? It was all of them. It's
Which
whatever you wanted it to be.
Yeah, that sets the tone of this is kind of a little bit silly. We're getting we're getting a mix of Mad Max and someone's Lover's Lab mod playlist for Fallout 4.
Honestly, yeah, this is because notice that out of the 5 reasons why you'd want to play, 4 of them involve essentially soap opera bullshit between players. This is just ERP with more steps.
And I'm pretty sure there are ERP post-apocalyptic books out there.
Well, not only that, but like if you want to have a horrible ERP with mutants and monsters, you can just play a game of Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf. Both of them are filled with degenerates.
Yeah. Speaking of our degenerates, let's go to the playbooks.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the high contrast. I know what happened. They took a photo. It might have been a stock image, or it might have been a still from something, or maybe they actually got someone to have the picture. Then what they did was they put it at 100% contrast after making it black and white, marked out the areas with different symbols. Like you can see where they drew on it. I can tell
Hmm.
because if you've ever played around with things like paint.net or paint programs, this is exactly the sort of shit you'd do if you were mildly artistic.
But the first up is the Angel. When you're lying in the dust of the apocalypse world, guts are spilled, for whom do you pray? The gods, they're long gone. Your beloved comrades, fuckers all, or you wouldn't be here to begin with. Your precious mother, she's a darling, but you can't put an intestine back inside so it'll stay. Now, you're here for some grinning kid or veteran, or just someone with a heart chakra and a hand with sutures and a six-pack of morphine.
So yeah, they're the
Next up,
medics. They're basically
yeah.
clerics. I I
The
don't know why they're going with these fancy Dan names, but fair enough.
next up, the Battle Babe. She's got like seductiveness and like lightning, bro. It's tits and guns.
Okay.
The Brainer.
I hate
Psychic
the
weirdo.
names and I hate the concept so far.
The Chopper. Which, biker gang leaders, apparently.
I would not have known. I would have thought they might have been a type of butcher, maybe.
Then the Driver. Which is a guy with a car.
Fair
The
enough.
Gun. And then the Gun Lugger. I guess dirty and violent. Just, you're barbarian, I guess?
They carry guns. I don't know.
The Hard Holder. Landlords, warlords, governors. I guess the Face?
Combination of face and like the warlord.
Yeah.
Then you
The
got the magic
Hocus.
man,
Yep.
but it's charisma based this time.
The
Now it should be
Mestro
crystal
D.
fucking obvious that the gods have abandoned Apocalypse World, because I'm a nihilistic atheist that just wants to indulge in hedonism. Sorry, I have to make fun of it because I just really fucking hate the tone of this book. I just do.
Then
It's
the
trying to be
Maestro.
irreverent, but it's done in such a way that it comes off as. You ever have that kind of tone where it's like you can tell they're being fake as they write it?
Yeah.
This has
So,
all of the sincerity of the car dealership as they try to sell you a car that is actively on fire and one of its and the gas tank is exploding in front of you.
let's see. The next up is the Maestro D, who owns like a bar or a drug den. Basically, a sexier version of the Hard Holder.
Also, it's named after the Major D, which is the head of essentially the main, not the manager, but the organizer of the front of house of a restaurant or dining establishment.
And that's sexy, bro.
I really hate the names that they come up with for all of the
It's
character
radical.
types.
The Savvy Head.
I actually
They're
think I might
techie.
slightly hate this more than. Well, no, I'm not angry yet like I was with Gamma World. I'm more confused because I've read Dogs in the Vineyard, and was there a TBI in between that book and this one? It feels like someone else wrote this.
But then next up is the Skinner, which is basically like a Hard Holder, a Chopper, or a Hocus, but they don't have motivation.
Apparently, They what the hell is this? They're a
They
charisma
want,
build, even though it doesn't make any sense.
and then we have near the basic moves, a woman with her palms up. Is that supposed to simulate sex?
Maybe. Oh yeah, because of the coloring. Like, oh ho ho, we're trying to hint she might be naked. Her.
The basic moves. So you do something under fire, go aggro, sucker someone,
I hate the
do
names.
battle, seduce, help, redestroyation, read a person, open your brain to the psychic maelstrom, or end the session.
What?
And
I'm
here
just.
we go with the stats. The angel special.
By
If
the
you
way,
have
here's the character sheet for those wondering.
yeah, if you and another character have sex, your hex with them goes up by +3, and you get a +1 to their hex on your sheet
All right, 1 second. Be right back.
or
I
on
have
your.
to get the hard lemonade for this one. Fuck this.
Yeah, the fact that the first thing on the special is not healing anybody, not helping anyone. It's if you have sex with somebody. I don't get. I would assume in the apocalypse people wouldn't get that horny. Not at this moment.
Sorry about that, but I ain't going to do this shit completely sober. Fuck this. Fuck this.
The other thing is that I guess we'll have to see with the other ones, but I'm looking at the example moves, and they're so generic. Like even in other Powered by the Apocalypse games, there's something new to it. And the other
Like,
thing
do
also seems
something
to
under
be
fire.
is that like I guess all of them are psychic in some respect.
Well, yeah, because apparently humanity attained some form of Jungian superconsciousness. So, what we're experiencing since we're looking at this compared to, say, Roma, is we're experiencing something that the United Kingdom went through during its Industrial Revolution. So, what's one of the things of being a first adopter that's an issue?
You have no idea how it's supposed to be.
You have no idea how it's best designed, which is why the United Kingdom had on several occasions had to improve their underground tunnels and had to improve their rail lines and a bunch of other things. It's also why they were not able to modernize their industry as effectively, combined with the unions being terrified that because these factories needed more workers, they'd lose workers. So, because they were the first to adopt something, they usually have a bunch of faults that other people pick up, and when they adopt it, they're able to improve upon it.
That's probably what we're going for.
This is the product of the first one to try something.
And then, but we do have the specific angel moves.
I hate that the specials are all based on how you fuck.
Well, this was at least the first one we're seeing.
Oh, no, it's gonna be all of them. I think all of
Probably,
them
yeah.
are gonna have sex. And I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not a prude. I'm genuinely not. I'm just of the mind that if you're gonna have your sewer goblin RPs, what you should probably do is not try to sell this book like it isn't being a sewer goblin.
And to me, it's just eh, why in a post-apocalyptic setting? Like,
Well, because it's
I
the end of the world and literally fuck it. That's a common reaction people have at the end of the world.
this is kind of a little bit after that, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just in a lot of post-apocalyptic media, the immediately getting it on thing really doesn't appear that much.
Well, yeah, because they're trying to sell it to audiences that could buy it, and there's people that legitimately would be instantly turned off if you decided to go full degenerate.
Yeah, but let's see the specific
Save that stuff for
angel moves.
Pornhub.
Yeah, is like setting up an infirmary, um, having armor while you're healing people, sort of stuff.
Wait, so one of your moves is to just set up an infirmary. I'm just kind of envisioning if you've ever played a strategy game like a real time strategy game, the dude is just able to build an entire building like a settler or like a constructor from the Warhammer RTS games. Like he just builds an entire clinic.
Clinic built. Let's see. Beginning of the session, you can barter for your lifestyle. I don't know
I
what this
love
stuff
the part
means.
where it's like the gods are dead, so you have psychic healing, like a cleric has lay on hand. Well, not lay on hands, but like how a cleric has heal light wounds. And we're gonna use
Make it
the aphorism angel, but gods don't exist. Oh please.
God's dead, man. We killed him. Nietzsche. Yeah. And they give us a bunch of options on how the character would look, like their
Also,
name,
Kit, how
their
barter
pet stat.
works. Because for some reason you have to have sections on how to fucking barter. That's a good idea, but at that point, I don't know, man. I like how I kind of like that it's included, so it helps with a person improve their role play. But on the other hand, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted about that.
Yeah. Let's see though. Next up though is the Battle Babe.
This is actually more soulless than most Powered by the Apocalypse games I've noticed.
Alright. So let's see the Battle Babe's move is if you and another character have sex, nullify the other character's sex move.
Eh.
So that so you rob yourself of a bonus.
Why the fuck would you do this? What?
I don't know. I guess the Battle Babe has to be a virgin.
I, oh, is it because fuck you? I don't want to get into a relationship or something. I'm gonna
Could
very
be.
quickly look at the next one because we've seen the angel one. Okay, okay, I can maybe see it, but okay, this is starting to really fucking skeeve me out because I'm just envisioning most of the battles turning into hardcore fucking. Because, oh god, essentially this ignores the specials that are done on you, which means, god, I hate this.
And I'm like looking at like the to create a character. The look though, and I think we saw this back in Blaze in the Dark, is that you have the look of a man, woman, ambiguous, or transgressing.
Oh, and for look, oh yeah, here we go. That's affinity scam marketing there. That's why. I don't know why they went with transgressing. My guess is it's to be a little bit of a note like, hey, transsexuals, here's where how you get your
No,
look.
no, that's ambiguous, but it's I don't know exactly.
No, ambiguous is clearly NB.
I don't know. Maybe.
These look
But
options are
I also
fucking
do like
terrible.
with the names here. Majority of them
Those are
are
hooker
female.
names.
The only ones that are male coded, Smith.
No, these are basically all hooker names. What the fuck, my guy? Did you just go to the nearest brothel in Nevada and just ask for their dance
I mean,
names?
I don't see a crystal with a K, so let's see. Next, the Brainer.
These are so generic, by the way. Like, I'm looking at the looks, I'm looking at the gear you get. This is so generic.
So a Brainer, when you have if a Brainer has sex with somebody, you automatically do a deep brain scan on them, whether you have the move or not. However, the MC chooses which questions the other character's player answers. And what is that? The deep brain scan um, allows you to read their thoughts more deeply than normal.
So you can
And you
add your mind rape to your body rape.
Well, there's also uncontrollable lust transfiction. When you try to seduce somebody, roll weird instead of hot.
Uh,
I don't.
I'm not gonna turn this into a drinking game because I don't feel like ruining my fucking liver, but that requires a good gulp. Mm.
Two of these are
I give
about
this two
trying to
out of two
fuck
middle
somebody.
fingers.
You're a fucking mutant with an enlarged cranium, most likely.
I fucking.
I don't.
So here's okay. I'm already starting to see what happened. This game sucks, but what happened was because the licensing to use the system was so free, that's the only reason it's relevant. This this is horrible.
Let's just keep going and
The
see
moves are not very flexible. Oh, I guess they
the
have implant syringes too.
the chopper.
Well,
You
you
immediately.
don't want to get the fetish bondage wear, for our fucking game.
Wait, what the fuck?
Thank you, Brainer. Very cool. Plump, moist face.
Uh,
Oh, we figured out that this is just a shitty ERP. Um, yeah, I mean, we've kind of figured that out earlier, but now we understand that this is completely worthless as a game. Holy shit.
so let's see. The
Woo! This sucks.
the chopper special is they immediately change their sheet to say hex plus 3 with you, and they also choose whether to give you a 1 or a -1 or +1 to your hex with them on your sheet.
Why is history
But the
based
sex.
solely on sex?
The other thing, I'm looking at the moves though. They
Maybe
only have
my joke about you contracting monkeypox is accurate. Maybe that's like it's your disease list.
maybe they only have 2 moves. I guess they get to take other moves, maybe.
What the fuck?
Oh yeah. Oh, I see here. Because you have a gang with you,
Uh,
so you get to have. And I guess that you have less
we
stuff, but
also
you
get a
have
bike.
essentially an army with you. Okay, I can see. Yeah, I can see the trade-off here.
I can see the trade-off, but I already hate this imbalanced
And yes,
stupidity.
same thing. S&M biker wear. Although, to be fair, the post-apocalypse road warrior, that's definitely the case.
It is, but this is also clearly the writer's fetish, and they can go fuck themselves.
Let's see. The
On this
next one
episode
is.
of The Author's Poorly Disguised Fetish, having sex in a dirty porta potty in an atomic wasteland
Let's see.
with a bondage clown who can rape your mind.
The driver is every time you roll sex, you have to roll cool. If you get a 10 plus, no big deal. On a 7 to 9, give them +1 to their hex with you, but give yourself -1. On a miss, you gotta go. Take a -1 ongoing until you prove that it's not like they own you or nothing.
So they're a clingy fruitcase.
I guess so.
By the way, if you're wondering, their moves are not very good. Like their movement selections are very similar to each other.
It's all about the car.
I really fucking hate this.
Which, if you're in an apocalyptic setting with no car, I guess it's your animal?
Gonna be honest, Gaslands was the far better RPG that I read, because that was an Adam solo episode. I much prefer Gaslands over this atrocity.
Very much so.
Also, you like how,
Oh,
despite the biker having just the bike and the goons, this guy actually has more moves than him?
well, yeah, because that's the trade-off. Having the goons is
But having
why
an
you get
armored vehicle that you can run people over with isn't a big boon.
but they're also a biker gang.
You also have multiple cars, by the way. So, yeah, this is unfair and unbalanced. I think what happened was they just wanted the gay biker bar aspect so
Mhm.
that they could, they can enact their little horrible fetish of a gangbang or whatever. I
The driver
probably
though,
shouldn't have cracked open the hard
he
lemonade.
gets leather wear.
Bird! Burn it all!
Let's see, the gun lugger. If you and another character have sex, you take +1 forward. At your option, they take a +1 forward too.
Yeah, I have to agree, Gunlugger. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
Yep. And you just get a bunch of guns, I guess.
Insano like Drano. I didn't know you were a big fan of the Spoony One writers. In battle, you count as a small gang. They give no clarification on what this means, so fuck you, MC. You got to write that yourself.
Let's see, the hard holder. If you and another character have sex, you can give the other characters gifts of worth 1 minus barter. Or 1 dash barter.
You
At
literally
no
pay
cost
the
to you.
prostitute.
And they only get 2 moves.
Well, yeah, because
But
you
instead
run the
they,
government.
well, instead you get a holding.
Do they clarify? Oh, they give a little bit about what the holding is. That's good.
Like the size and what that deals with.
You know, things are impressive when this book is so rotten that the goddamn gnats are crawling on my goddamn screen. The insects are like, "Ooh, what's this disgusting rotting mess in front of me?"
Oh, and look, yes, you can wear fetish wear.
Death.
Welcome to our community. You say as you pluck on the nipple piercings.
You know, honestly, in the post-apocalypse, I could see someone doing that as a gag. If you play it up comically, it's actually kind of funny. But they're not trying to play this up comedically. They're serious.
Welcome
They're
welcome to the
seriously
safe
thinking
word.
about bondage clown sex.
Yeah. The
I,
hocus. You each hold 1 if you have sex. You can spend your hold at any time to help or interfere with the other. And you get cult.
Wait, so they get a cult and followers, but they get more moves than the biker. Now, do you see why I think this is horse shit?
Yeah.
I think what happened was they were like, okay, what's my fetish? Okay, I
And
wrote down this fetish. So what's my next
fetish
fetish?
fetish vestments. I guess they're into nuns.
They're just wearing slutty nun cosplay. They're wearing slutty nun cosplay they stole from Party City.
The psychic ladies of the fucktastic order.
No. You're not thinking big brained enough. Bondage rabbi.
Oh no! No!
With a gimp mask.
And they have to have a keep. Oh no!
Oh no, I'm
They
in.
have the keep is a fucking pacifier, but so they have to hold it in, but it's still on, like hold it in with their lips, but it's still on top of their head.
They have a
Oh
chastity
no!
cage that looks like the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh no!
I'm actually envisioning this, and he calls himself Big Daddy Shimshon. He can just murder people with his bare hands because he's like 7'8" and fucking roided
Yeah,
out.
he has his Torah reader, but it's a dildo. Oh god, that might send me to hell.
You don't want to achieve the bar mitzvah with him. Thankfully, he waits until you're 18 for the full ritual.
No, you mean the bris.
You have to wait until you're 18 for the bris. Oh god.
All right.
I'm
Now to
sorry.
the
This
meter.
book is such an atrocity that
It
I
is.
needed that.
Now it's the mater D. If you hook up with another character with sex or with food or whatever, it counts as having sex with them.
You're a cuck. It's the cuck move. You just sit in the
Well, no.
corner. You sit in the corner.
No. It's basically it's this. You see, just giving somebody a bunch of peanuts you found on the floor is the same thing as fucking them.
I gave you this rusty lug nut I found on the floor. We had sex. I gave you this funny stick I found in the closet. We had sex.
I found this from that local rabbi. And yet you have an establishment you set up, which can be anything from luxury games, fashion, food, lots of food, sex, drugs, sports.
You know things are fucked when you have easy food, lots of food, luxury food. They had no ideas. They had no clue whatsoever what sort of post-apocalypse settings you can come up with.
You also again have fetish wear that you can get.
Why the hell don't they have a car repair shop? You know, like Greasy Pete's, lube and lug nuts.
Well, that's the sex shop.
Well, no, it's also the car repair shop. They're the sex
Like no, it's
they're the sex
saying
shop
here.
after 8 o'clock p.m.
On the establishment's atmosphere, intimacy. Let me see the nudity, kink, a Kate. Like what the?
So here's the thing, right? People complain when you kink shame them, but I'm of the opinion if you're dumb enough to express yourself outside of outside of your house, you kind of deserve it.
This game literally has a mechanical benefit to fucking other players. Or characters, to be specific.
Also, literally, they're just describing the sort of bondage that they're into. Like, all of it is basically their bondage fetish.
Let's see. The Savvy Head, if you or another character have sex, they automatically speak to you as though they were a thing and you rolled a 10 plus. Oh no, this is another fetish, isn't it?
You fuck them so good they think you're their boyfriend.
Well, no, as though they were a thing. There's something about that that's fucking creepy.
So, wait, are you saying they got the pig rings and they're like squeal? And you hear fucking horrendous oinking noises in the fucking bathroom?
No, just the way I'm describing it's like they're treated like an inanimate object or just a sex slave or something fucking creepy.
They are the lamp. They have to hold the light as you actually have sex with someone else in front of them because they are a lamp. I wonder. I
Now, let's
wonder if
see.
these guys are into gore. The so
Oh,
here's the thing. There's the John Carter spinoff called Gore. It was written by a dude. He wasn't a good writer, so he turned it into weird bondage porn. Do you think they're Gorians? Do you think the writers might be Gorians? Because
well,
they
we wouldn't
talk
have
about bondage a
post-apocalypse
lot.
then. They would have probably gone into much more detail and misogyny.
They are houseplants.
Yeah, there's not that much misogyny in
Look,
this.
here's the thing. It's the post-apocalypse, so having a section talking about the greasier aspects of life, I'm okay with that, you know? Like, if they had a section about this, or if they only talked about it briefly, I'd be like, oh, okay. I'd make
No,
fun
but
of it, but I'd move on. But it's a
from what
key
I
aspect of the gameplay.
yeah, it's
Like, it's one thing to
I,
have it. Like, it's one thing to
hmm,
have Big Daddy Shimshin as a fucking character.
damn you, damn you.
It's one thing to have that as a character. It's another to have everything be like that.
Thankfully, though, with the savvy head, there is no fetish wear.
Oh wow, really? They're boring?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're wearing vintage wear, so what they're doing is they're wearing the bathrobes.
Ah.
Also
Let's see
utility
this.
wear, that means like you know the dreams about the pool boy?
Yeah.
Or like the
Oh, it's
electrical
that.
line
Yeah.
repairman?
Yeah. It's that. Though now we get to the Skinner. If you and another character of sex choose to either get +1 forward, you take a forward, or they take a -1, they must give a gift at least worth 1 dash barter. You can hypnotize them as though you rolled a 10 plus. There we go, mind control.
I love
That's
roofies.
another tag. That's another tag.
I love roofies, says the person who wrote this.
Yep. They can.
By the way, I'm happy that all of them include session end as an ability. Because I would, as soon as I found out, like, imagine if I went to a fucking game group and they crack open this book, I'd have been like, okay, session end, bye, get a new player.
But we just got out the gear. We're LARPers.
Just 360 moonscope, walk away.
Yeah, let's see the hypnotic. You can do it to force someone to give you something you want, rape, acting as your eyes and ears, fighting to protect you, doing something you tell them to do. Uh, so two out of the four examples are rape.
I thank God I have this.
One one of them is to act as a spy, and the other one is to act as a pleasure
Okay,
bag.
okay. Sorry, I had to take a couple of gulps worth of that.
And look, fetishware, and all of the names are
Oh, hey,
fucking
look,
super names.
androgyne. That's the only one that I've seen that has that. So we got transgressing for transsexual, and now we get for the Skinner the fetish of, I guess, male presenting. I don't know. All I know is
That
that I'm, and their names are all stripper names.
Mercury, Venus, Huron,
Or
Sword.
alternatively, for maximum trash, did you know that a lot of those names are also used very often in pet shops?
Oh,
No, seriously, a lot of dogs are named stuff like that because it's like a placeholder.
yeah.
So
Then we get yeah.
this is awful. This was reminding me of Extreme Meat Punks Forever.
So then
This
after
this
that,
is more perverse than Thirsty Swords lesbians. How did you fucking get there?
how do you get more perverse than the game in which they give an example of playing as hyenas?
I don't know, but we're there. We're there. I wish we weren't.
Well, yeah, we certainly are. If so, we now get the basic moves.
Okay,
Obviously, when you do something under fire,
I'm gonna need to
um,
swap out of that lemonade because otherwise I'm gonna be fucking completely
yeah.
hammered by the end of this, and I don't want to do that. Okay, sorry.
So something to note though is with a bunch of these, basically you pretty much succeed only on a 10 plus,
Yeah, because that's the so
which
for
I
those.
think is even worse than most PBTA games.
No, no, no. It's exactly like Powered by the Apocalypse in general. So the concept for those who have not played Powered by the Apocalypse games, it's very simple. It is a 2d6 system where what happens is you have to roll the 2d6 plus your relevant attributes. And I think if you, oh wait, there are no skills. It's just attributes and any bonuses you have to moves. If you get a 10 and above, what you can do is you do the thing, no problem. If you don't, you do the thing, and then there's usually a complication. And in this case, in Go Aggro, what you can do is you pick one of the options rather than do what you want. And then on a miss, which is below 7, you're fucked.
And then if you were to succor someone, it's attacking somebody unsuspecting or helpless. There's no implications with that term.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. We just read the Hypnosis Man, which, by the way, is also a very disgusting fetish, and you should always look carefully at people who say they have that as a fetish. You really should. Anyway, seduce or manipulate. You know things are bad when it's like always the fifth thing on their mind is what they want to do to people.
Yeah,
Yeah, this book is gross. This book is
helping
fucking
somebody,
gross.
um, reading a sitch, read a person, open your brain to the psychic maelstrom,
I
and at
wouldn't
the
want to
end of
do it in this world because it's gonna basically be like live leaks in Pornhub, as far as I
yeah,
can tell.
and then session end, which can only be done at the end of the session, unfortunately. You choose a character who you know better than they used to, presumably by fucking them.
I mean, that's how they usually do it.
Yeah. Tell the player to add +1 to their hacks with you on their sheet. If this brings in the +4 hacks, they reset to +1 and therefore mark experience. And if you choose someone that, if you don't have anyone you know better, you choose a character who doesn't know you as well as they thought, and tell that player to take a -1.
That's so stupid. Why does knowing people give you experience?
Well, it's I guess
I mean, I can
strengthening the
understand.
relationship.
Well, no, I can kind of understand in the sense that by doing that, you know what your buddies can do, and that allows you to set up more plans. And from a narrative point of view, that makes sense because it allows you to grow the relationship. But how does that translate into me being able to blow someone's head off an extra 100 feet away if the guy that I'm talking to is the creepy nerd with the mind control powers?
I mean, maybe because some of their teachings rub off on you.
What, do they teach you to stare at a dude creepily like a dead-eyed snake, and then they get so horrified you blow their brains out
Maybe.
because they're not able to move in time? Look, I can understand if you go to Big Daddy Shimshin and he teaches you how to punch better. I can understand if you learn how to tie someone up better because you go to the maitre d' who has the bondage shop.
Wait, hold on. So I'm looking at the character creation, and they give a bit more of an explanation to the apocalypse. That
Okay.
it happened 50 years ago. The oldest people still around have child's memories of it. No one knows what happened or why.
Yeah, because fuck
Um,
making a setting.
but wait a minute. I just realized something. If this is supposed to be like 50 years later, and apparently now everyone's just a fucking sewer goblin in terms of their um, desire for sex, is this just the aftermath of Threads?
Yeah, I think it might have been. Also, if they still have only childhood memories of it, I don't know, man. Because let's be fair, even in pre-medical societies, and they still have some of the advanced medicine we have, you'd probably have people that were young adults at least.
Perhaps.
Maybe you should have said about 70 years ago. Or what you could have done is what Gamma World did, where they made up a bunch of stupid ones and said all of them are true, basically telling you up front, make up your own reason.
And
So,
let's see.
so
They
here's
then
my idea for what happened to the apocalypse. Remember the Grimace Shake phenomenon? Yeah, that's what happened. That's how the world ended. Too many
that
people ate the Grimace Shake and they died due to the malevolent entity known as the Purple. There you go. That's the apocalypse. That's all you need to know. Also, why are they repeating themselves? Was this the bloat page length? Because they already explained what the fucking stats meant. You get hard +3. No, thank you. I don't want to get stabbed with a +3 anything when you get hard. God damn. Oh, here they go. The basic moves they actually explain. Oh, poor DPS and everything else. He just got to the special sex moves. Yeah, yeah, all of them have special sex moves, and that's like their ultimate move. I can't wait until you get to the roofie guy who uses hypnosis.
then we
Fucking
get
hypno sissy
hmm,
fetish, man.
we get like acting under fire, going aggro, the battle moves,
Actually,
which we
they
kind of just
explained
went
some of these
over.
already too. So what
Yeah,
the
we just
fuck?
went over that.
What is this unfocused shit?
Uh, Here we go.
By the way, for
Introducing
those
special.
wondering, we're not looking at the first edition of this book. We're looking at second edition. This should be the polished version of it.
Every playbook has a special move for when that character has sex. These aren't moves for playing out sex scenes. I'm easily embarrassed personally. So when I'm the MC or when it's my character having sex, I always fade to black
Then why
and
did
have
you
one hand on the
include
table.
it?
There are moves for how sex changes the relationships between characters because that's the only way that people bond, is by the act of physical intimacy.
You know, I was gonna try to stretch out how long I was gonna chug this hard lemonade, but fuck this. I need it. Oh,
Sometimes they're
sweet
straightforward and
booze.
positive.
Mm.
Sometimes they're more complicated. Some of them can be a little creepy, but they are absolutely only for mutual and consensual sex.
Hypnotized.
Post-apocalypse. You know, it says something when the fucking Vampire 5e has a whole romance book, and it makes more sense
It
because you're
does.
fucking hedonistic vampires, and also the consequences of that.
And it's also one of the easiest ways to get blood casually. Because you can find someone who's into getting bit. Especially since one of the things about the kiss is it's actually supposed to feel pretty good to mortals, depending on the vampire bloodline. Giovanni are an exception where it's actually fucking agonizing. But, what was I on about? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's absolutely only for mutual. That's why we have one of them with the hypnosis ability, where you could basically make them your slaves. Oh, God. I hate this book a lot. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say to Mork Borg and Biggie, I'm sorry. It's still a bad book, but I'd rather play Mork Borg than this. At least there's a dungeon I can play in Mork Borg, and the disgusting sewer goblin fetish stuff is only very rarely a thing. And it's only if you make it a thing. Why the fuck would you introduce the sex mechanics when you yourself can't
Yeah,
handle it?
I know, page 75. It's like some things I'd like to get out up front is that your characters don't have to be close friends, and that yes, you each have a move for what happens when you have sex. They're there if it ever happens. If it ever happens, just if you
What's
ever
the
want to
point?
engage in in deep, beautiful, sexy. I mean, if it doesn't happen, that's fine too. Strictly up to
Why
if
is
you
it
want
a
your character to have
special
sex.
ability though? Why would you
You
focus so much on that?
listen. You have there's material. You don't have to do it, but do remember that there's material benefits for it. It actually is important to establish relationships. Don't need to do it, but again, if you actually want to really engage with the game, you kind of have to.
I'm actually pissed
God, I
off.
feel ugly. I just
I'm
feel
pissed
creep.
off. So, rather than actually just coming up with special abilities that each of them could have that could be very useful, like, let's say, for example, the angels heal on hands is their magical special ability. Or rather than having it improve a relationship moment, like, here's an example. I'm going to use the angel again because it's the cleric version. You could call it a nightingale moment, where when you're tending to the person's injuries, it could be romantic or it could be because you're showing compassion. They spill a secret or two about themselves, and you improve your relationship that way. Or you just talk as you're setting the poor bastard's bones to try to get them to focus off of the pain. And you both learn a little bit about each other. For the maitre d', you know what a shop owner does? Sometimes they like to talk with the customer to try to get some fast talk in, sell up the item. Do the same thing. Sell it up in the shop owner's advantage. Or you get an advantage by talking a little bit about the history of how you got that item. And they get a little bit of interesting lore about you, and you get an item out of it. There's no need to talk about being a bondage clown man, selling your bondage clown goods for all your bondage clown needs. I didn't even have to I am inebriated right now, and I'm cooking up non-sex versions of this. It's not hard. If you're squeamish, if you are not willing to let your freak flag fly, or if you're terrified about being a freak, don't fucking fly the flag, you motherfucker. What a bunch of pricks. You wrote Dogs in the Vineyard in this shit. That's fucking reprehensible. Be fucking shamed. God damn.
Yeah, no, Square just points this out that this explains why so many of the games that use the system have such predatory, abusive vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fucking baked in.
It was baked in from the beginning. The only people who willingly played the Apocalypse World were degen sex pests. Hey, Not Nito, you came in at a fantastic time.
Like I'm looking through this when they're talking about examples of introducing players. Like, what did you do? How long you been doing that? Who lives with you? Uh, you remember the apocalypse a little? So you two are sisters?
That's like getting it. That's like a serial killer getting information about their next victim. That's like Ted Bundy getting into insight on the woman he's about to stalk and murder.
This is a fucking Buffalo Bill simulator.
Would you screw me? I'd screw me. I'd screw me hard. And then all of
I
a
need,
sudden, Big Daddy Shimshin kicks the door open and saves the poor bastard in the pit.
I, I need, yeah. I may look like a degenerate, but I'm not a fucking weirdo.
And because this is the post-apocalypse with psychic powers, I'd also give the big burly bondage rabbi the ability to shoot laser beams from his eyes,
Yeah,
much like the teachings say.
as it says in the Talmud.
Why
You
is this
see,
book so Kumari when there's already an hour before? It's the whole nature of this horrible book. They details about the apocalypse, nah. Talk about how everyone's wearing bondage gear and how you could be if one of the other things they commonly mention is what type of body types you got. So you could have a bunch of plus size, health at any
I,
size bondage walruses wandering
I
around.
actually am not. I'm actually
I can easily see
kind of,
why this has
kind of,
appeal.
kind of shocked that we haven't seen the term like voluptuous or just descriptions of breasts or genitals.
Well,
I'm
that's
surprised they
icky.
had that much restraint.
That's icky. Talking about sex is fine, but talking about the shape and scope of the parts and how they interact with the human form, that's just uncomfortable, man.
Well, they want this is the fucking Skinamax version of an ERP.
Now put on the bondage gear and put on the biker cap.
The,
We're doing a Tom of Finland skit. Come on, put it on.
this is a Sears catalog of ERP.
Well, no, because the Sears catalog would actually allow you to buy your own bondage dungeon. Fun fact,
Eh,
originally the Sears catalog included full houses that you could build.
hmm.
Oh, if you're wondering, Not Nito, I cracked open my hard lemonade for this because I got so angry I needed to get buzzed to reduce my rage. Because
I'm
fuck
just
this book.
going just slowly trudging along this. I've decided to move to page 82 where we have
Well,
this
you don't want to talk
principle.
about history, which if you're wondering is pronounced HX. I'm surprised they
No,
didn't say her story, knowing this book.
eh. But
Well, you
one of the
don't want to talk
principles,
about how the history section is just talking about how many notches you have in your bedpost. Oh, I recommend it. The liquor is definitely helping a little bit.
oh no, I embrace the
It's at
insanity
least taken me
straightforward.
down from like a 9 to an 8.
But one of the first principles is barf forth apocalyptica.
Oh, we're skipping the agenda section?
I'm just skipping, just fuck it.
Well, you don't want to listen about the agendas?
How to make the apocalypse world seem real, make the lives not boring. I want to see what their principles are in understanding post-apocalyptic
Well, that's
fiction.
one of the funny things people seem to neglect with post-apocalypse settings are eventually the apocalypse, when it's over and you rebuild, some form of society should occur again.
That's why people love Fallout New Vegas, because they built a fucking society.
Well, not only that, but Fallout 2 showed a development from the societies you saw in 1.
Or hell, I'll even go fucking Fallout 3. It's not like, you're rummaging around for scrap. There are societies out there.
Yep.
Like they have
And
that's
and
what
in
we like.
Fallout 4, for all you can give shit to it, you you rebuild parts of society. I know that asshole keeps whining about the settlements being under attack, but you build new settlements. You actually rebuild a civilization out there, man.
Even the Raiders had societies.
Yeah, the Khans actually have an entire lore and backstory to them after the damage that the Vault Dweller did to them.
But
This is a fucking joke.
what do they say?
What principles? Oh, the principles of sex, I bet. Here we go. The
Barth,
principles.
yeah, Barth Fourth Apocalyptica, just describing, plants turning gray, the rain falls like it's fine black grit, so we're now the fucking road for some reason.
So, this person doesn't really understand the different types of apocalypses, huh? Because the stuff they're
Yeah.
describing looks more like the aftermath of an atomic bombing or a radiological incident. It's actually kind of just borrowing from Fallout
And
if you think about it.
speaking of radiological incident, we have a guest.
Hi, I'm back.
You picked a
Biggie,
very unfortunate book to show up to, Biggs.
Well, you know what? I had a very unfortunate day at work, and now I'm ready to kick ass and have time with friends.
So anyway, back to the bondage, because this book is nothing but a sex pig book.
Is that what we found out, Power? The apocalypse was the whole time? It was just a sex fiend's fantasy, and the
I
rules
don't
light was
know.
just so big head.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Think about it like this. There's a class whose entire gimmick is hypnotizing the person they fuck into doing what they want.
What's the whole reason why the apocalypse system was made? Just so when the rape goblins come out and drag your party down to the rape caves, the GM has that plausible deniability of my rules lights. He was able to cheese the rules light system in order to give him an advantage.
Well, no, here's the other problem with it. They then try to say, oh, but it's all consensual. It's all consensual to read the person's mind when you fuck.
And it's all optional. Don't worry. Not that,
It's just
the
the
fact of the
core
matter
mechanic we have.
is that relationships actually, like, for instance, you get experience by increasing relationships if you get a +5 to it.
Also, keep in mind that out of the
you can also
5
get
reasons you should play this game, 4 of them involve 3 of them involve fucking. And they're the first 3. It got so egregious I cracked open the hard lemonade just for tonight.
He was into that.
Like, we've got here, like,
Can
one of
you
the
hand him a book, because he's gonna have to just deal with what we're talking about otherwise.
You remember when you fought the gift golem from D&D, the D&D wiki? It's just we're just back to that. The gift golem came back at him.
Oh no, in this case it's actually Big Daddy Shimshin, the 7'8" tall bondage rabbi with an Ark of the Covenant chastity cage.
I don't like those words you used.
I didn't either. But
this book sucks so bad.
But as we go on, another principle they have is to name everyone and make everyone human.
Well, yeah,
By
because
giving them,
if you screw the animals, you're going to prison, even in the apocalypse, man.
Oh no, I just read something horrifying.
Oh no.
What they do in life is follow their parts around. Their noses, their stomachs, their hearts, their clits and dicks, their
What?
guts, their ears, their inner child, their vision.
No! No! No!
Child should not be 6 words away from dicks and 7 words away from clits. I give the female genitalia a benefit because of the fact that that's where children come from.
But no, the clitoris is legitimately the nodule that becomes the penis if hormones are applied
Yes,
to it.
but
it has nothing to do.
But overall,
with the personnel.
Don't try to carry water for this.
Why are we going into a discussion on this?
Because this book decided to go there. It should never go here. But it chose to. By the way, here's the fucked up thing, Viggs. The author, like, legitimately doesn't like this, and yet they made this the core of the game, which is why I think they do. They're just
What do you
very
mean the author
insecure.
doesn't like this? They wrote this! What do you mean they don't like this?
They wanted to fade to black, not describing the intimate sex scenes. You know, the warm bodies mushing with each other.
What's the point of what's the
the feel of rock hard abs as you're ground against the wall of the fucking porta potty.
Isn't there that 4chan game? Was it the lesbian bikers one?
Oh yeah, it was like lesbian motorcycle. I forgot what the fuck it was called. I'm sure we can find the one
Just play that
4chan
game.
article on it.
I'd suggest that game over this atrocity.
So what is going on in this apocalypse too? Is it all
No.
stupid?
They don't have
thought of?
anything for that.
I've
What do you mean
decided.
they don't know.
I've decided it's 50 years after the movie Threads.
No, you don't
That's actually
understand.
good.
You don't understand. They had nothing. They legitimately said all you need to know is it happened 50 years ago, and only the oldest among them even remember what the world was like before as childhood memories.
That was also psychic weirdness.
There is no setting. So, I actually made the apology. I'm going to apologize for last week for shitting on Mork Borg so hard. It's still a bad game in my opinion, because it's just a very shaved down basic that relies hard on its art. But I at least can do a dungeon run in Mork Borg. Fuck this book.
What can I do with this exactly besides get raped?
Do the rape. Well, actually, no, you can't because
It's all consensual, even though they
it's all
talk about
consensual.
the
So
hypnosis.
you never do rape.
One of the class's entire gimmick, by the way, is hypnosis.
That's just rape.
Where 2 of the 4 actions are taking things from them from force.
You know what I realized though? This could be after before the apocalypse. The free love movement just conquered the world, and then the bombs fell.
If I take umbrage with the fact that you said this takes place in the universe. That's too good of a story for this. This obviously takes place in Waterworld after the sun grew 5 times too big.
It happened in the sequel to Waterworld.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually going to go
Waterworld 2. Wait, no. No, Waterworld XXX. Everyone's wet.
No.
That's good, but you know what I was going to say for the movie this should take place after? The Happening. The Shyamalan film about the plants murdering everyone with pheromones.
What?
Actually, that makes a lot more sense if you think about it, because think about it. No one
They all
knows
turned into
why.
horny sex weirdos.
Yeah.
Okay,
The pheromones are making us fuck now.
yeah. I've kept scrolling through.
I have
Just
no
because they
idea where
keep-
we are because I
Here's the problem.
fucking
They
shittered.
keep repeating the same
little
thing of like here is how you relate the principles to the first session and all this crap. But I'm going to highlight what they describe for the leap forward with named human NPCs on page 101.
Thank you, because I was stuck on all the horrible principles, because take away their stuff, make them buy, and it's just bad examples. Like, they assume you don't know how to play they're not even giving examples of how you could do actions. This sucks.
So, remember how to make NPCs human? Give them straightforward, understandable interests. Choose a body part. Stomach. Gut.
Oh, you're
dick,
right. They just
foot,
repeat the same
nose.
shit.
Time ticking womb. The fuck is that incel language?
What? Where? I need to see this.
101. Main
101. Let's go. That's horrible.
Rossi's blown the fuck out.
Oh, I found it. Remember how to make NPCs human? Give them straightforward, understandable. There it is. Their time-ticking womb.
Their heart and have them follow
They
around.
describe their heart with
wherever.
more details than their body parts. So I'm just envisioning, and you come across the sewer goblin. They have in their hands a human heart, and then I'll just let you imagine.
How did this become the go-to system? How did this become the go-to system for people that didn't give a shit and they just want to make a shitty game?
Oh, simple, because it's free. You can use it for free, and it also has all of the sewer goblin bondage shit that they're into. So it has an even greater incentive.
So
now, Adam, the question is, do you feel more comfortable with this or cat milk?
Give me that cat milk right now.
Scrimp
I'm
comes
sorry,
into the room.
Derek. You're
Wait.
beacon of light compared to this shit.
He's been out scouting, and he has something urgent to tell you, Keeler, but he gets distracted.
Well, no,
He
actually,
has-
there's one
yeah.
more funny thing. Biggs, you weren't here, but when we cracked open this book, my fucking malware detector actually pinged a couple of alerts. It was because of its weekly assessment. That's the real reason, but I just love that it pinged on this STD riddled book.
So hold on.
It's
I
so
need to read.
rancid. Gnats are crawling on my screen occasionally.
I need to read this 70s 8-track porno tape dialogue.
Go ahead.
Scrimp comes into the room. He's been out scouting, and he has something urgent to tell you, Keeler, but he gets distracted. He looks at all three of you, and he gets this look. Jesus, you know he's speculating which of you might let him show you his dick.
I take
He
my
seems to come to a decision.
knife and stab him.
Wait, he's like, "Hey, Mary, how's that? Or should I call you Madam Miss Hot Bitch Baby?" Keeler's player. You said he has something urgent to tell me? Me. He sure does. But right now he's making his smoothest on Mary. Hey, Keeler, sweet stuff, wait in line. You can have me for leftovers.
No, what you need to do is scroll killers. You should do it like I'm doing since you're not getting high enough. I have been taking a couple of big fucking gulps of this lemonade.
And for
It's
cat
helping.
milk, for those who don't know, look up Derek Deshaw's work.
So there's
under
a
the name of
thing we
Wenger State
covered
Channel.
called Chalt, and I made a lot of shit on it, and I was all try hard on its mechanics system of the planet, like mechanistically the planet. I made fun of a lot of aspects of it, and one of the dungeons had a cat demon you can get milk from, which is really fucked up because you get it from the source. But compared to this, I would actually say it's almost none-like, even though Derek is also a degenerate.
Would you say this is more shameless than Fantasy Fuck World?
I actually felt more comfortable reading Fuck World than this. Because
Yes,
Fuck
it is
World
more
knew what it
shameless.
was. I think that's the other thing. Chalt knows what it is. It may not be much of a setting because it's made by a burnout, but it knows what its nature.
So, as I keep scrolling on, because there's like nothing to this book, I'm just picking out the various
I don't blame you. This
disturbing
thing's
baits.
horrible, and it's just repeating itself for the page count so they can
Yeah.
get more money.
Page 105, we have a baby sucking woman's tit.
No way,
No,
really?
you
Yeah.
actually don't see anything. It's that high contrast,
I know,
trying to
but
look like this
okay.
is the edgy post-apocalypse.
Quick, F! Control F racism!
Where's the racism?
Read racism.
0 out of 0.
I'm very disappointed in you, Pop, about the apocalypse.
So the threats include scarcity. I like how the threats include having a child. Oh no, parental responsibility.
Well, I would argue
the
in a
consequences of my actions.
In a post-apocalyptic setting, that is kind of a thing. You have another mouth to feed, somebody who is.
I know that, but not in the tone of this fucking book.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm half tempted to just stream the back half of Chalt with the insight of how much worse things could have been. I'm very tempted to.
Did they mention X cards by chance? Because we all know that everybody.
They mention consent and the body descriptions of all of the characters you have. They're too bitch made, I think. Well, no, I think they do say male and female, but they have instead of but they have like the non-binary ambiguous, and then they got transgression, which is you know what that means. And then they got, what was it, androgyne for the pickup artist one. I don't know. All I know is that I am already forgetting this book, and thank God. Thank God I'm already forgetting parts of this book. My brain is actively, it's like a fucking killer T cell just ejecting this virus out of my head.
So they give us this whole thing of a for the threats, like a threat map.
So, a threat map, from what I'm looking at, looks like another teaching aid that they're abducting for their weird bondage porn clown usage.
Which is to say, like, okay, north, south, east, west cardinal directions. Then
This is so stupid.
northwest is I, which is for inside threats like diseases, cults. Northeast and southwest, U and D respectively, are for up and down, threats above and below the characters. And then southeast is O for outside threats originating from the world's psychic maelstrom or elsewhere.
I fucking hate this.
Where did the maelstrom come from?
Oh, it's always been there, but they barely talk about it.
I do realize here, they do name a character Bish.
5-star
Yes.
days, bish. If you
If
can't
Bish goes
take
out
the
on the
heat,
roof,
you get out of Mexico.
You know, this is the kind of person that would play this fucking game. Ethan Ralph is the exact kind of fucking person that would be like, hey, I want some of this dick.
Hey, you know what?
okay, page one.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go aggro on
what
you. What you think
page
about that, bish?
page 119.
Fuck
I
this
swear
book.
they must have photocopied over like someone's actual handwriting.
Let me take a look because yeah, they did. Oh my god, that's a worse. Do you have? What's that? There's a condition that some people have where their hand, what is it? It's like a locomotor issue that
Retardation?
autistic people with ADHD sometimes have, where they're just really bad at handwriting.
I mean, it's just more that like it's clearly just someone's penmanship.
Inches,
So
inches,
it's
gangerl, enforcers, victimized, no stands, ow. 3-arm medium.
I thought my handwriting was
Unreally
bad.
Armorg. Dustwitch. Mice. Peppering. Cool. Will Dustwitch and mice fought up with pepperongs? Lizard. Yep. Look, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but this is some of the worst handwriting I've ever seen.
it's also because it might be because of the contrast as well, but you just can't get the clear letters.
Like, I was trying to read it, and in a couple places I was being a little cruel, I think, but I don't. Is the name supposed to be Dustwitch?
I don't know.
Oh, is that supposed to be
I
Mike?
would imagine.
Is that supposed to be Mike?
Yeah, it's my cunt.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm moving on to page
If you harm a
126.
hollow daughter with a gun, it blows through. What the hell's a hollow daughter?
I don't know. We're going to the
Oh,
moves
we're gonna not
snowball.
look through the monster manual that they might have?
They don't have one.
Well, that sucks. What's the point?
The MC
Use your
does it.
mind, Adam. You gotta make your own monster.
Fuck you, I ain't making nothing. That's what they're saying. I love the page expansion too, just to make it so that the PDF costs more. Look at this.
Basically, moves cascade naturally, holds overlap. Just remember the rule. If you do it, you do it. Do it to do it, you have to do it.
You
And
know,
see through their logic.
yeah, I'm gonna say it right now. Chalt's an easier to understand game than this.
So the example they give here is Marie the Brainer goes looking for Isle to visit grief upon her and finds her eating canned peaches on the roof of a car shed with her brother Mill and her lover Plover. Lesbians.
What's with this stupid fucking
Hot.
sitcom style soap opera shit?
Adam, you don't understand. Are you not seeing it? This is just situations in which pornos can happen.
You know what I've noticed? What is it with people doing post-apocalyptic stuff and then making it into weird Skinemax crybaby fucking sitcoms? Because The Last of Us TV show and the games did the same thing.
Because they want to be about drama and emotion.
By the way, Suffa Cuckman. Suffa. Season 2
You
is
know,
going down the shitter. And I hope
You
they're
know, at
dumb
the
enough to make a season 3, because you're such an egotist you decided to make the second game 2 to 3 seasons long. I hope you suffer for
He's
that,
doing
buddy.
that. He's so gonna fucking do that. But what else does
He
he
is.
have?
He actually.
You know,
Oh god. To give you an idea on how
At
petty
least-
he is and how narcissistic he is, they brought back the spores. Remember how they had the tentacles? For those wondering, they used tentacles instead because Pedro Pascal is such a crybaby bitch and paranoid about having his face rights on camera that he refused to wear a gas mask. I'm not even kidding. That's why they had the tentacles instead. And then just for
wasn't
the
this all-
scene, because it was from the video game and Neil Druckmann is such an insecure bitch, what they did was they had the spores because that was the section from the game.
But Adam, this is a man whose most famous character doesn't show his fucking face, though.
You know the funny thing is, you know things are fucked when you have to change the main actress to be the Jewish girlfriend who's pregnant because the Ellie character is played by someone who can't act.
we're gonna be a father.
She's gonna be a dad.
That fucking dialogue. But moving on to this piece of shit.
From one piece of shit to another.
Fuck it.
Which is about, I guess,
I
violence.
do direct brain whisper projection. Oh god, imagine being able to just whisper into someone's mind as they're fucking.
So did they mention combat at
No.
all? Like,
No,
okay,
it's
well,
almost all
let's go.
porn.
It's called going aggro.
In fairness, there were 10% of the book, 10% of the book examples involved going aggro. And out of that 10%, half of that was then redirected to what? You want a guilt trip and fuck them?
you know, Extreme Meat Punks did this shit too, didn't it? Where it's like they were wishy-washy what the fuck combat actually was.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I was originally gonna give this book a bit of a fair shake, but no.
Also,
That doesn't even explain the destroyable items, because what the fuck?
When they're talking about PC versus PC, they name drop Ron Edwards Sorcerer. I think we reviewed that game last year.
We did.
Which, funny enough, also has an entire section, a separate book, about making this porn.
Well, you
Or
see, people who
introducing
play
sex into this
TTRPGs
game.
are gooners and pooners.
And retards like me.
I know.
And then we get the basic moves.
I like how they
Which
look.
we
More of this is
repeated-
dedicated to.
Why are we... Hold on, wait. No, we are repeating the same thing we were taught at the fucking beginning, which is roll 2 dice, add them, add the stat.
Woo! Gotta
repeating
scam
images-
people for more money.
Repeating
More
shit.
money.
Games Workshop doesn't even do this. How can you be more greedy than Games Workshop when it comes to word count?
Okay, Mork Borg, I apologize for calling you greedy. Compared to this, you're fucking saints.
Not so high and fucking mighty now, are you, Adam?
I also admit I'm a little bit fucking smashed, so yeah, I was wrong. I still think you're crap in a lot of ways, and your heart doesn't make up for the fact that you should just play D&D Basic over it. But
All right, that settles it then, guys. We're playing Mork Borg Live section next week.
no, we're fucking not. No, instead we're gonna play this, and you're gonna have to play the Bondage Rabbi, man.
So I went to page 142 because I wanted to see the moves they do for seduce or manipulate. Quote, seducing somebody here means using sex to get them to do what you want.
That's not seduction.
Or not just trying to get them to fuck you. So this is sex with... You're coercing somebody to be sex?
You're using sex to get... You're basically using your body as a tool.
You're prostituting yourself.
You're a whore. It's the whore mechanic. Fuck World was less egregious than this. Can we go back to reading Black Tokyo, man?
Wait,
the
the assurance the NPC... Wait, the
That's
assurance...
what Fuck World was too.
Hold on. I need... The assurance that an NPC needs should directly address the leverage they're using. The leverage is sex, the assurance should be sexual. The leverage is violence, just promise you won't hurt me.
What the fuck? That's not how seduction works. What type of fucked up bondage goddamn clubs do you go to? And why do you think it relates to everything?
Ones.
Are you the person who wrote the X cards too? Fucking hell, man. I don't understand. It's not that hard to not be a degenerate. Jesus Christ.
In any other situation, I would not be shocked because, like, oh, horny retards made a game system. We do, but it's the fact that this thing has spawned multiple systems dedicated to it. It's just eyebrow. It's just jaw dropping.
I'm amazed that this is so influential, because all this tells me are that the people who did the designers, besides being essentially scam artists, also are bondage clowns, and they should be kink shamed.
Like we could go in depth on the
It's
the
not
rules,
hard
but
to hide your
we've seen it
fetishes.
before, and I'm sorry. I am entirely distracted by the fact that this is so upfront with being sexual without it's essentially edging the sexuality.
Well, not only that, but like there's other things we could shit on, such as the examples that they talk about are long-winded crap versions of giving the example because it's being written like a story, like a fucking Reddit story. You know, where it wastes bloat for length, where it's not the actual examples. Like, you could actually summarize this a lot more. It's written like a shitty fucking fanfic or a novel. I could make fun of that. That's a page bloater. We can make fun of it repeating itself 3 times like it's in an alcohol daze.
We've got
But
okay, so
no,
finally
it always goes back to gooning.
finally at page 166 we finally get moves for combat.
Yeah, by the way, we're
And the-
halfway through the book, and most of it was about how to grind deep into a person's holes.
Horny, desperate weirdos.
Which basically
Oh, by the way,
you
they're
shoot somebody,
peripheral moves. They're peripheral moves. Oh, this was a second thought in our porn game.
No, peripheral is separate from.
Yeah, this is separate. You got to pay extra for actually fighting in this game. This is the fuck game. This is the fucking game.
Just so pretty much combat is you exchange harm. You inflict harm equal to the harm of your weapon minus the armor rating of your enemy, and you suffer harm equal to the harm rating of your enemy's weapon minus the armor rating of your armor.
Hey, Shayna, about right. So she says, I remember reading through this the first time and wondering why these idiots couldn't keep their edginess and hormones under control long enough to do their damn jobs. It's more insulting because one of the main writers wrote Dogs in the Vineyard, which is about playing Mormons in the Wild West, in the fantasy Wild West that never was. And that's a hell of a lot better than whatever the fuck this is.
That might explain it. Was he Mormon?
Maybe.
So this
I
is
say
the
I
gay
really don't
by
know that much about Mormon dynamics.
Either that or Vincent was New Mormons. I don't remember the actual story, but I remember Dogs. That's the other reason I'm pissed off, because the dude made something that was actually a lot better than this.
We've got
Adam. Adam, this is a case of one for me, one for you. One for you, one for me. He's indulging himself. We like to call this the George Lucas effect.
And Shane
Lily?
comments that, yeah, being edgy and horny, that's no mean feat. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're dealing with two, like, Biggs and I are not fucking blushing maidens here. We're not.
No.
We can go full bore. I came up with Big Daddy Shimshin as a shitpost in this goddamn stream.
But when you're basically when your entire RPG is basically Mark Miller's sex scenes, you know,
Then what the fuck?
yeah.
There's more to you than the desire to impregnate and penetrate, motherfucker.
Also, by the way,
Or get penetrated.
176 Road War moves. 176 pages in, and we get a fucking Road Warrior reference of boarding moving vehicles.
By the way, reminder that several of the character classes have vehicles.
This is the post-apocalypse. This should have been front and center.
170, laid down fire. Oh, I finally could fire my gun. And I don't mean my dick. That's the
This
name
really
of my car.
is this game reads like it was written by that guy. That guy that's a rapist basically that tries to rape all the
Oh, yeah, that
NPCs,
guy.
players.
Beta trap. I'm surprised they didn't go with the other form of trap. Gotta get that bussy after all.
And then wait.
I'm
And then
surprised
right
they didn't
after-
go that route. Come on, why not?
And then what? Right after that, we go in depth on the character moves that we saw at the fucking beginning of this book. And the
Do you know what the
And then-
definition of insanity is?
Wait. Did Ethan Ralph write this book?
He did.
I also want to point this out.
No,
the
because
angel
like
move.
the way they repeat it, this is. Are they assuming you're stuck in the K-hole?
Well, it's saying Well, no,
Did
this
they think
person
you're
is
going
saying
through drugs?
many of these should be self-explanatory. Like for the rest of my notes, it's like you had this at the beginning. I also like this to point out page 183, 184 when they're talking about the angel's sex move. If an angel and an NPC have sex, there's no mechanical effect. Which means that to get the full use out of this, you must have sex with another player character.
What can I say?
I'm sorry. It is a fucking lie to say that
Yeah.
that the sex is not necessary. No. You creepy fucking degenerate. You put this in here so you can have the facade of this, passionate relationship. No, it's for you to get your fucking rocks
Oh
off. And
no,
you're lying.
I'm not a
what-
dude who likes to get tied up, whipped, and pegged. I'm not a freak that is into that sort of stuff. Don't kink shame me. I don't even
What-
do that in my games.
Same-
Fake
same
fucking
thing-
smile.
They missed a really good opportunity for a reference where it says, if you try to have sex with an angel, you get turned into a pile of salt.
True. That should have
killer.
been a mechanic. That would have been actually.
Same thing. Hold on.
That would have been great.
Same thing with the Battle Babe's sex move. Same thing with the Brainer's sex move.
Yeah, let's go through his horrible
Same thing.
things.
Same thing with the chopper. I guarantee you. Let's see. Actually, the driver is the only one so far that has a move that has benefits to to having sex with an NPC. Gunlugger as well.
Oh no. I need to do because this person's self-reporting. The writer who wrote this. So when you have time and physical intimacy with someone, like holding them in your arms, or like they're restrained to a table, I don't need to know that you like to be tied up and fucking pegged. I don't need to know that. I'm
Okay for
assuming
that.
you want to get tied up and pegged. Either that or you're edged. I don't care what fucking degenerate sewer goblin shit you're into. I don't. But it shouldn't be the majority of your game mechanics. Or if it is, because this isn't rated R, you motherfucker. This is MA.
Oh no! Hold on. I realize this as well.
This is
The
NC-17.
The roll for the impossible reflexes for the Battle Babe. The way you move unencumbered counts as armor. If you're naked or nearly naked, you get 2 armor.
Go
Fucking Zardoz
fuck
up here in this motherfucker.
yourself.
Well, Adam, I think we found out why the X card was so vital for these fuckers' communities. Is because they all kept raping one another and they didn't even know how to say no.
Probably. At this point, so here's the thing. I know that TTRPGs have a bunch of degens. That's fine. They're that guys. They're usually kicked out
Like
and
me.
filtered for a reason. But, and depending on the area you're in, like, the World of Darkness is filled with it. It's one of the reasons I actually didn't like Werewolf the Apocalypse originally. I had a very bad first experience with players of that one. And I still do
Pro
with
tip,
the people who
if
play
you play-
Red Talons.
Pro tip, if you play a game of World of Darkness, there's a 50% chance that sexual assault will happen, whether it be in the game or to you personally.
Also, be careful of the fat goth chicks. They will try to make you fuck her.
Let's see. No mechanical effect for an Hocus and an NPC having sex. Um,
God.
Same thing with the Mater D. Same. The Savvy, yes, their benefit applies if they're having sex with an NPC, and so does the Skinner. So I think it's nearly 50-50, leaning towards the majority. You only gain your benefit when you're having sex with another player character.
Yeah, don't you want to join our ARP? Don't you want to? Don't you want to? Don't you want to? I'm inviting you. Come on, come into the clown cave. Come into the clown cave. That's what I call. That's what I call
Now,
that hole. Come into the clown cave.
Imp, while you're still in the combat section, can you find the rules for firearms so we can see what the rules are for blowing your brains out? Is
It's the same thing as any combat.
Don't you like how we've only had maybe 10 pages of actual mechanical things like barter and combat, and most of
We
it's
get
dedicated to. Okay, so can the battle babe deep throat? Well, okay, let's roll the mechanistic body and hotness and see if she doesn't choke on it. I hate this so much. I fucking hate this so much.
you chose this
They
future,
gave us
Adam?
harm,
I
like
didn't
how to
expect it to
handle.
be like this. I didn't
We didn't.
expect nothing like
I
this.
thought it was.
We went into this completely blind. We had no clue. I thought this was actually just going to be a very bare bones post-apocalypse setting where it talks about why your equipment breaks so much. That's why the Powered by the Apocalypse has so many successes with complications. I thought it had been like that. I didn't expect it to just be this. Like when I saw there was going to be sexual themes, you know what I was comparing it to? I was thinking in my head, oh, it'll be like Flying Circus, where they have a little bit of that because that's what Air Force pilots were like during that time period. Where they have a little section on it. That's what I thought. This is like half the book, and it's repeating itself. It's like when you're really drunk and you're so fucking wet brained. If you've ever seen an alcoholic completely shittered, they'll repeat themselves over and over and over again. That's what we're looking at. This is the alcoholic equivalent of a book. This is wet brain. This is wet brain writing. And that's the more charitable option. The other option is, well, you see, you spend more money based on how many pages that the RPG book is. So if you repeat the same sections a few dozen times, well, not a dozen, but like about 4 or 5 times, you could add like 50 pages to it. That's like an extra $5 to $10 for a physical print.
Then next section goes into harm and healing.
Gotta get that splenduli as I talk about how I want to be a bondage clown.
Vehicle harm, building harm, psi harm,
Well, you
S harm,
don't want to feel bone feel? Don't you want to feel their bones?
D harm, gear and crap.
I like how they're so detailed about the types of sex you have, but they're so squicky about getting hurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
You're not into Guro, buddy?
It is because of that sex stuff that I'm just
You're
completely
not into
unfocused
Guro,
on
buddy?
everything
Come
else.
on.
Because, I mean, we say it before, why the fuck is this in the game? It has entirely distracted me from talking about whatever combat or the various weapons or anything like that, because I know that no matter what, the game, especially because for a lot, I believe, you get a +3 bonus to somebody that you know better. In order to know, at a lot of these characters, in order to get them to know better, you get like a +1 or even a +3 to sex. So the game fucking and every time you get 5 on your XP or 5 to the relationship,
every
you get an
time
XP.
you've contracted 4 different strains of monkeypox, syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea, you get an experience point, and you get more, and you get double that if you get AIDS.
It appears one of the quickest ways in the game to level up is to have sex with multiple partners.
Yeah, this is just Swingers Club trying to justify that. Oh no, it's not. We're completely degenerate and don't know how to restrain our impulses like an animal. No. It's how you gain experience in the game, buddy. Like no, not at all.
You
Fucking
got the AIDS.
Like that's all I can say is that the game incentivizes you to do promiscuity
This game was
as a
built to fuck,
under
literally.
the wait no promiscuity under the guise that it is somehow essential to building relationships.
By the way, the example of harm, it's like nothing. It's barely nothing. They don't even have like something visceral. So it's okay to talk about wearing fetish gear as a biker and like talking about how it's okay to have mind control via hypnosis sex, but having a dude get his head blown off in the example, well, we're not
Being
gonna
a
go
weird sex
into description for that.
Adam, being a weird sex pervert is a part of queer culture, so that's something to celebrate.
Like we have here
Yeah, but they're
advanced
kink shaming the
fuckery.
Guro enthusiasts.
You know what? To finish up,
Are the
page
devs furries? Well, I haven't seen any like animal
Yeah.
human hybrids in this one.
278, page 278. I'm sorry, skipping all that because
What?
it's
No.
just
When life
fucking.
comes untenable, because that's I think where we are right now. This book has become untenable. When the book harms you down to midnight, your life becomes untenable. You have one of three options. One of the option. Not these, the options. They were writing with one hand at this time.
When weren't they?
Come back with -1 heart because you got you climaxed too soon. Come back with +1 weird. Change to a new playbook or die. Barring the interference of an angel, it's always the player's choice. So what could happen is you get really fucked up and are at 12 o'clock. Your buddy could just say, "Yeah, you die. You die."
But I came here for sex, man. Why you blue balling me like that?
So I get off on that. But
I
like
hate this so
I don't.
much.
like
Can we even have a meaningful discussion?
they bring this up with the section on advanced fuckery, which by the way,
Okay,
the
let's
picture for
scroll.
that
We're
is a
scrolling all the way down to advanced fuckery. I
the
don't blame
picture
you.
for that is a threesome because of course.
What? We're not doing gear and crap. You don't want to learn about all the cool gear you can get.
It's gear and crap.
Well, yeah, it is crap. Let's be fair.
I don't give a shit anymore.
Oh, Kernmore. I don't
in
blame you.
in which they're now bringing
No.
up of
I
like
do want to make one point very quickly. This is a standard list that you would make in Microsoft Word that just has the body arrangement around it. Don't worry. When they say it's crap and you don't care, when you say it's crap and they don't care, well, you don't care, they didn't care either. They didn't fucking care either. Oh, specialty gear. Let's see. Do they have the bondage clown shit in here? Please. Please tell me they have oh, it's just all it's the same shit you see in your character selection anyway, just to stretch out the page length. Gotta get that splendooly. Gotta get the money. What page is it again? I'm forgetting. And oh, here we go.
I would
Improvement. Improvement. And look, we have an actual bondage clown. Huzzah! Sorry, I'm trying to get to. Oh yeah, there's the threesome. Not a fetish, guys. By the way, it's not a fetish. Not a fetish. Sorry about that. I just wanted to show briefly what the rest of the book was like. How much did they sell this? Let me look because I'm a little too fucked to remember. So allow me to look. I did link it into the description. So.
But while we're doing that, this whole section of advanced fuckery is where we get the concept of taking this system and making it your own, because they have the ability to create new characters and different moves.
Yeah, make
which is
make my shit
yeah.
for you because I couldn't be bothered to be a
And
good
the
book
moves
writer.
are essentially this: you roll, and then 10 plus, you get to choose one option. 7 9, you choose two, or on a miss, choose these options for you. So it's basically plus 10 is the positive.
By the way, fun
7 through
fact,
9.
I entered the website. Entered the website. Warning! Potential security risk ahead. Hmm.
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 But you'll get the possible negatives, and then on a miss, it's a flat failure.
So let's take a look. Let's see what the price is on Drive-Thru RPG. Ah, $20 reduce, 20 splenduli for this book that repeats itself 5 times. Yeah. Yeah, gotta get that bread, son. Gotta get that
But
fucking bread.
we get on page 278 probably the first time this term was used, of powered by the apocalypse,
Powered by shit, more like it.
which was again the same thing. It's just different moves.
Yep, new characters, and here are all the abilities because I can't be bothered, and I'll just sell them to you as other playbooks anyway. Now, in fair, let me be fair. They have the free materials for the character types and the playbooks, and I think enough to play a game for free. But this costs $20 dues, and that's on sale. It originally was closer to 30.
And so the entire concept of
So
the game is
but that's why they added the pages, because otherwise they might have had to lower it to like 20, and we can't have that.
when you do something, then something happens. When you do this, you take this action. And that's the entirety of the Powered by the Apocalypse game system.
Yeah, right here, this Powered by the Apocalypse. So what happened is in the second edition, they bragged about all of the people borrowing their template because they became the most successful of the schemes to make money off of it, or to get notoriety and get the good boy points. So this is them bragging about how you can just do this, take it, and then just kind of fucking work with it. Yeah, play to find out. Yeah, imagine if you're like some poor bastard's like, oh, I heard Apocalypse World is really good, and you crack it open and you just see, oh, you get your special move when you have sex with another player. Oh, oh no.
And I think here though, the
The last 20
ludography,
pages is legitimately, this is the stuff that's for free. You just have to
it
attribute to it.
no, it explains so much. So the immediate game influences includes Ars Magica, the Burning Wheel,
All right,
Mouse
let me
Guard,
look. I want to see the inspiration myself. Outside
Sorcerer.
playtesters.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the first person on there I remember got in trouble for drugging up and making a robot orgasm on live stream. Sorry, Coble. But every time I see your face, I gotta reference it.
But
Where's the
we have
inspiration? I'm looking for it.
289.
I skipped it by one. Whoopsie doopsie. 316. I don't remember that one.
No, no, Burning Wheel, Primetime Adventures, Shadows of Yesterday, Sorcerer, Sorcerer's Soul, Sex and Sorcery by Ron Edwards.
So Mouse Guard
That
is a good comic, but I don't
yeah.
know why you'd reference this because there's nothing about Mouse Guard in this.
Spion by
Ars
Ron Edwards.
Magica is also really good. There's
Yeah.
nothing in here that references Ars Magica, in my opinion.
Troll Babe by Ron Edwards. And I think
That's also porn.
this is the legacy of Ron Edwards. The fucking academic, uh, bullshittery that is trying to masquerade itself as being a role-playing game when it's just an academic sniffing his own farts.
Yeah. So, thank you, Ron Edwards. Very cool. You're responsible for this atrocity.
Yeah, the character sex moves were inspired by Sex and Sorcerer.
Yeah. No.
I
I hated this book.
Sienna Musgrave. My experience with porn is that people's opinions on sex suck, so trying to make a movie out of it will suck as well. Unless you're covered in mud and have a gas mask on, then you'll have loads of fun and make bus change.
Yeah, I know
So
porn's
I think
unrealistic, but there's something fucking wrong with you if that's the
I
thing you're
don't.
basing your entire book on.
so
And then looking at the immediate media influences. All right, we got 12 Monkeys, 28 Days Later, Aeon Flux,
How?
Book of Eli, Children of Men.
I don't think they've ever read Blood Meridian. I don't believe you.
Neither.
The City of Ember was also not a very good movie.
The Fifth Element,
How?
The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, by the way, my favorite thing about that is it's very clearly liked because of the bondage aspect and the control over the woman.
I Am
It was
Legend.
supposed to be a a frightful tale about what would happen if something like the Iranian Revolution happened in the U.S. But what idiots have interpreted and what the idiots scream about is the fear of being forced to wear red dresses and be forced to be essentially the fucking dominated by men. It's some weird fetish shit. Just if you reference that book, you are a failure. Especially since I bet it's based on the was the TV show released when this piece of shit came out?
No. 2017, I think it was.
Also a Crowley book, of course.
Yeah. Lost.
Lost sucked.
All of the Mad Max
Jacob's
movies.
Ladder, really? Oh boy.
What?
We're getting Jodorowsky art house film a slop. Excellent.
The Road.
So I think we could just all admit that we've just given up
Sons of
trying to
Anarchy.
read this fucking thing.
Yeah, this sucks, man.
Oh no,
Sex
no.
ed.
The
Sex
sex
ed.
ed section. Yes. and curricula. We have fucking curricula about your sexuality and our whole lives, lifespan sexuality education.
But we're not going to tell you to be careful about who you screw because, I don't want to.
Fucking academic books on sex. Why?
I don't know either,
Why?
Dax J. I don't know about why Jacob's Ladder.
This indie RPG publishing was pioneered in large part by Ron Edwards and Clinton R. Nixon.
Both of them sucked at it.
This is Ron Edwards might be responsible for all of the slop we see in RPGs today.
Thanks,
the waffling narrative bullshit, the trying to make this something bigger than it is, and condemning the plebeians that want to just roll dice and beat goblins up with a sword.
This it was pioneered in large part. Go fuck yourself.
It's fucking hacks.
Someone pointed out to me rather late in development that gasoline evaporates like 50 years after the apocalypse. Not a drop or find left. It turns out that I can live with it. If it bugs you, pretend that I meant biodiesel all along. Or, you could suck it up, Buttercup, since this is 2nd edition, and change it. Why don't you just go change it, bish?
Or you could do like what Mad Max did, which they had a new civilization build up that had exploitation of natural resources.
That too.
But no,
actually, it'd be okay. Hear me out. So one of the things I liked in Waterworld was the smokers and the D's. The big fucking Exxon Valdez. Okay, hear me out. They're called the D's Nomads, and they're called that because they basically have recreated diesel oil and diesel fuel. So you have these essentially nomads going in refitted tanker trucks filled with crude diesel that make a killing because they have one of the few working oil refineries left because they started from former oil workers who survived the apocalypse. What do you think of that?
I like it, but I want to end with this.
I don't blame you, not Nita, for getting out. I'd have fucking left ages ago if it wasn't for the fact that this is an entertaining trash fire.
And I'll reiterate because I've really enjoyed this. RuneQuest.
RuneQuest is full of degenerate shit.
Yes, it's full of degenerate shit. But
no, I'm not shitting on it. I'm putting it.
Yeah,
it's full of it. And guess what? It's incidental to what the work includes.
It's incidental. It could be a part of the narrative. Romance and relationships are a core part of it.
In
you
fact,
get
it's part of the cosmology. Orlanth
you
wooed
get
Arnalda as his chief wife.
well, no, you get benefits, for trying to be inspired by your close relationships. At the same time, you're stabbing orcs to death, or well, in this case, like
Yeah,
Tusk
because
Riders.
because in the Chaosium system they did, you have the ties, which includes family, clan. That's your loyalties, and they give you bonuses if you think on them. God damn, son.
If you want that whole narrative stuff and being very deep and complex and having these emotional bonds, play RuneQuest, play the basic role-playing game system. Don't engage in this hack corporate, this just hack indie shit populated by the likes of Ron Edwards, who wants to give you fucking flowcharts on how to discuss,
And
Conan the
also
Barbarian.
Ron Edwards doing that explains the lesson plan bullshit too.
It
Academics, they
does.
have to teach, they
It
have to
fucking
teach and
does.
instruct.
And that's the other thing. Wasn't Greg Stafford? He don't know if he was but he was in academia.
Yeah.
And even he knew you don't want to be reminded of academia.
Also, Scroll
what
Killer's
you're
like,
telling me
world
is my
building
high school.
hard, don't think. Well, no, there's one more thing
So what you're
before I
telling
close
me-
the book. Before I close the book and we can continue. Apocalypse corn. Make popcorn, melt butter. To the melting butter, add sriracha hot sauce.
So what you're telling me is that high school teachers are conspiring to make my tabletop RPG games lame and gay. Is what you're telling me?
Not just lame and gay, but full of bundles of sticks. Also bondage. That's where all the BDSM
Adam,
stuff came from.
Adam, I keep harping on it, but I don't think you've said I'm sorry to Mork Borg enough.
Because I don't take back everything I've said. This is more of a comparatively, I much prefer Mork Borg exist than this atrocity. Which is a shame because we've seen what the best of the system can do. Roma used the mechanics fine. Flying Circus used it fine. What the fuck?
Which means you can build something out of this, but I think it tells us you have to be inspired to actually make a game, not your poorly disguised fetish.
Also, DPS and everything else. The biofuel is cum based. Yeah, probably. The psychic phenomenon tells me to jizz in the gas tank. That'll get her going. We're sacrificing billions upon billions of potential souls. Everyone get in a circle. We gotta power up the truck.
It's like that scene from the movie The Gamer, where he drinks a lot of alcohol, and because he's shit faced drunk, his piss converts into fuel, and he pisses into a fuel tank, and it gets the car going.
I mean,
I don't know how that works.
That's more of a shit post, but that's at least funny. And yeah, Roma was made by Game Devs, not. Well, no, here's the fucked up thing. One of them actually made a good game. Although I think it's because it's that philosophical shit, but they accidentally made Dogs in the Vineyard. That's the thing that's even more insulting. Because it basically means they lost their neck, or it was just an accident. Like a freak accident was why that one was good. So on to the rating of this book. It's horribly unpleasant. It's, I think, one of the worst Powered by the Apocalypse books we've ever read, which is funny.
Absolutely.
And that's fuck it, True Namer.
No, it's a game, unfortunately.
It's a game, but I would recommend actual porn games instead.
I would too. I'm going to rate this playable because, to be fair, I wanted to rate Mork Borg fucking True Namer because I didn't think it was much of a game. This mechanically, unfortunately, is a game, and we've seen it at its best can make things like Blades in the Dark, which is pretty nice for what you want to do. And it also made Roma. But this is horribly unpleasant. I don't recommend it. I did link to the Apocalypse World website, but it's really funny that it's unsecured. That's kind of a bit of a giggle.
This, a lot of this, but you're saying like this horrible degenerate sex shit, but knowing that it made good thing. It's like finding out like one of your favorite like artists is like that's done like beautiful work and it's influenced the whole genre, was in the like scat pornography or some shit like that, you know?
Oh no, I was going to say, oh wow, dude, your art's really good. What inspired you? Shad, man.
Oh,
Oh, ay Dios mío. Ay pobre. Fucking hell, man. That's my thinking on that. It's oh wow, you made excellent landscape artists. Who are you inspired by? And he just pulls out a copy of Mein Kampf with the saddest expression on his face possible.
Andrew Dobson.
That's another good one. It's like, oh yeah, I was inspired by this artist to get good, and they're actually good, but then you find out that their artist is horrible.
My
Good
my
old
YouTuber
Dave
career,
Lynch.
I'd like to thank Darkside Phil for inspiring me.
I'll let you know that I learned everything I know from the Rage Pig. No, I didn't. No, I fucking
I
didn't.
base this off of my favorite video game, Custer's Revenge.
I learned everything I know about RPGs from. I learned all that I know about RPGs from insert some
Beast,
shitty Wonder Swan game that no one played.
Beast the Primordial.
Yeah, from Beast the Primordial. I actually got my chops with Beast the Primordial. Oh God. So that was horrible. That was
So congratulations to Powered by the Apocalypse. You're somehow more shameless than fucking Fuck World Fantasy. Congratulations.
more degenerate than Fuck World, more pathetic than Chalt, and more
Less rules.
and more of a scam than Mork Borg, because Mork Borg at least had unique pages for it, the page count, and it gave you an adventure module that you could use outside of it.
I'd also like to say too, with less rules than the Book of Erotic Fiction, which has like a whole chart for STDs and breeding.
It does. Oh God.
Just
It's also worse than Thirsty Swords Lesbians, which I thought was the biggest affinity scam ever.
But no, it's the granddaddy of them all.
So yeah, on playability, it's playable, but my personal feelings is garbage fire or not deep hurting, mainly because I'm a bit drunk, but it sucked. This fucking sucked. It is technically playable. Don't play it. Play any other Powered by the Apocalypse game than this.
I think it's just skirting True Neighbor, because when it literally opens just like saying, here's the roleplay session, your Danny Tom comes in and says, you want this dick, bitch?
Oh no, it's also because it repeats itself how many times? We've seen it repeat how moves work like 5 times. You could easily cut this book down to like 150 pages.
I would be a hypocrite to say that, yeah, it does have rules, but can you at least agree with me? This thing is like edging True Neighbor just for those facts alone.
I can't say it because it's the one that came up with the Powered by the Apocalypse rule system. No, I understand, because you're using the same logic I did with Mork Borg, but it's like we're in the reverse position here. I hate it too. I hate it a lot. I consider this a trash fire, but mechanistically it is playable. But I think based on how we like it should factor, so I'm okay with knocking it down to trash fire. Although by extension I'd probably knock Mork Borg. No, Mork Borg's slightly more playable.
No. I think, yeah, trash fire.
Because of this, this has accidentally elevated my esteem of Mork Borg from horrible to just bad.
Again, because the game says you don't really need to use the sex, but the sex mechanics generate a lot of experience points.
And it's all the dude talked about in most of this book. To the point where even in his notes, he tried to justify it and like put effort and thought into it. Like, oh yeah, you can't gain the benefits from NPCs.
And instead of nutting up and trying to make a game that's unabashedly, yes, this is a sex game in the post-apocalyptic setting,
which I can respect Derek DeShaw for.
With all the bondage and fetishes.
Vanger Satanis had the balls to admit that with Alpha Blue. Sorry about that. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. Instead, you tried to hide away from it and claim that it's just a part of this emotional, tense, apocalyptic world. No, you don't get to hide under that excuse.
Yeah, mechanistically playable. It's responsible for good games, but personally trash fire. I'm gonna rate it a trash fire. It's a trash fire. You're a bum. Get out. Take his coat. Take his mechanics. We're gonna make good games out of him. The best games. We're gonna make great games like Roma.
Next
Make
week, we're
Powered by
actually,
the Apocalypse great again.
I would say next week, let's explore then a game that does do, or that focuses on relationships and not just in the sexual sense. Vampire 5th Edition, with their new book on playing as the Ancilla.
Are
want
you
to play as
sure
some?
about that?
Oh
Yeah.
boy, I know how much Adam loves 5th edition, World of
Eh.
Darkness.
Basically, playing the boomers of the vampire community.
You know,
Personally, I've always been more of a thin blood kind of guy myself.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to worry. You were going to say, "Oh, well, next we're going to cover Black Tokyo some more," which covers intimacy much better. All right, all right. I guess we're gonna look at my least favorite iteration of vampire. That'll
That'll brighten your day, buddy.
Okay. Let me Google how can I get sick and pretend. No, fuck it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Yay!
Good night, everyone.
I'm gonna finish this hard lemonade in one go.
All right, guys. So I was thinking for our next time too, I can also do a sex role play game with you guys.
Yeah, I'm
You
cutting it
slowly
down.
entered the Goblin Den.
I'm cutting it down.